Welcome to A Simple Life with Cal. And the boys are up here, Herman's up here, the dogs are up here, the goats are somewhere. But today we're gonna do something a little different. Today we're going to start picking grapes. And then we're going to be pressing them for grape juice. And that grape juice is what we drink, juice-wise, through the course of the next year. We need about somewhere between 60 and 100 gallons to get us through the year, because sometimes we end up giving it away to friends and all kinds of stuff like that. So I got these 4 drums cleaned out to their food grade, and then we've only ever put in them water, apple pressings, and grain beyond the initial products that were in them from the health food bar manufacturer. So we're gonna use those to put our grapes in as we pick. And once we have them full, then we'll probably come back the next day. So today we'll probably do a lot of picking. You boys ready to pick some grapes?
Yes.
Yeah?
I have a patch of right here. They're so yummy.
You're not allowed to eat them all. How are we ever supposed to make grape juice?
These are from down there.
Well, we're gonna make grape juice out of those too.
I know, they're just delicious. I love them. They're so good to taste.
What can I say? I give up. They're all gonna be eaten by clay. So this year our vineyard got a little bit away from us. In the past it hasn't gotten away from us like it did this year. And the main reason it really got away from us is it's set up in the old fashion of one wire. This is the post and there's one wire. It goes all the way down. So a lot of this is done like that, where it's just one wire and it's hooked to a bunch of posts. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do it similar to what I did over here with the blackberries, where I have an anchor right here to a post. I'm actually going to get a really sturdy, for the vineyard I'm going to be using, it's a post they use in vineyards. It's really sturdy, and we'll be able to anchor to that in a similar method that I did here. This has a hole in it, so that's why this doesn't slide down. And then we'll be using T-post, and then we'll have a single wire down here, and then dual wire, another dual wire, and another dual wire up here. And that will allow us to do the grapes in a more conventional manner. From talking to one of the locals who have a lot of cuttings from Herman's, there's a couple of the varieties that don't like to be set up like that. I'll probably weed them out. I don't have the time or the money to pay people to come up and maintain the grapes the way that Herman has them maintained. It just, as Herman, like what we did last year, is it need to be trimmed 3 times. Do a winter trimming, you do a trimming in the early summer, and then one right before, like it should have been done like a month ago. So when this video comes out, it'll probably be like November. So it should have been done in like September. So I'm going to set this up so it'll be a lot easier for me to maintain. It's the same thing with the apple trees. We have a plan. That is happening this year. We are pruning all the fruit trees back this year. And it'll be interesting, to say the least. But it really needs to be done. And I have a strategy. It's taken a couple years. I think I mentioned that. It's taken a couple years for me really to figure out exactly what I want to do. And I'm sure it wouldn't take everybody a couple years, but I don't have the same experience as everybody else. So sometimes things take me longer to come up with the solution.
So let's talk about the property. I've been meaning to do this for a while. This first patch of grapes right here, the grapes closest to the bottom, they're going to be removed. Then you go a little bit farther south, towards the top of the screen, and those are our fig trees. The fig trees, they're also going to be pruned, but they're keepers. We love them. They're just a little too tall. Next, we have the grape patches that we are currently picking from for the grape juice we're making this year. We're going to keep those. Then we have our prunes, followed by the large apple orchard. Well, large for us, not large for industrial size stuff.
We're going to straighten up the cider shed. This is a cider shed Herman made back in about 2003 or so. The inside of the cider shed is not anything fancy. I'll actually show you what's in there. It's actually got, we have 2 presses. We have a cider press, which Herman had made from a gentleman in Washington. And this is the cider press right here. And it doesn't look like much, but it is actually pretty amazing. The motor is here. This is the grinder. You put the basket underneath, and then you slide it forward, and while that's pressing, you can be filling another basket. And when you slide it forward, the hydraulic press comes down and pushes down on top of the basket. Like, here's the basket right there, and there's another one there. That's the stainless steel tray that goes on here, so you're not losing anything juice-wise because it's going right into a container. And the other press we have is our grape press, and this is a bladder press, and it is really super cool. I'm going to get this out and clean it all up. I'm not going to do it right this very moment, but you guys will see that when we do the grape pressing. We're going to do the grape pressing on Friday. I already have a date with the beautiful one. She's going to come up Friday and help me press. So in the meantime, the boys are picking some grapes. We have 155 gallon drum of grapes picked. These are a grape Herman calls an early blue. So I have 155 gallon container right here. We have 4 of these. We're gonna fill as many as we can, and then we're gonna press it. That gets put in the freezer. We haven't done any pasteurizing. We don't put anything in it. We just freeze it. All right, well, I'll put you guys on time lapse and you can see what a mess I make out of this mess.
All kidding aside, it is actually a relief sometimes to get into an area, be able to clean everything up, get all the trash, the old overgrown brush, get it all out of the way, or as much as I can at the moment, and to move on. This cider shed area was definitely like that. Now, I didn't get every last bit of trash. I didn't get every last bit of junk. I got as much as I could in the moment before we got interrupted. But it's all good. This is just part of it. And you know what? I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background, but you can hear the boys chatting with Herman. It's really special. The boys, they don't know it, but they've missed out on something really magical. When my dad passed away about 1.5 years ago, with him passing was also the fact that the boys don't have that grandfather figure. You know, the wisdom, the bonding that happens between a grandfather and the grandson. I'm not saying that Herman is that for my boys. He's not really grandfatherly, but for the boys, they have a blast with them. Let's get back to what we were doing.
All right, well, we got a good portion of this cleaned up. Over there, over here. Now, it's not clean. It's just starting. We got some of this cleaned up. We got a bunch of old apple boxes. I need to get in here. I'm gonna take this tree out, kind of remove a bunch of, there's still some junk over here. Need to get rid of this lean-to over here. But for right now, this is as clean as it's gonna be. I just got a call from a friend of ours whose car broke down. Or truck, I should say, broke down. It stopped starting. So I'm gonna go over and see if I can help her out and get her back on the road. And I actually think I'm gonna take the boys with me. I was gonna leave them here, but it's a little too late for doing that. So I think I'm just gonna take them with me, and they'll have to help me. They'll have to learn how to be mechanics. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.